As young kids, I'm sure many of us grew up being massive fans of Disney and the output of their media empire, with us 90s and 2000s kids most likely watching, or at the very least hearing about, Playhouse Disney. Starting as a programming block in the US in 1999 and eventually branching out to be an entire channel in other regions such as various parts of Europe, Playhouse Disney focused on airing shows predominantly aimed at a younger audience, with a mix of live action and animated shows making up the majority of its programming. I have a ton of nostalgia for Playhouse Disney, which was a TV channel here in the UK, as it aired some of my favourite Disney shows and movies that I watched when I was a really young kid, along with Disney Cinemagic, which I'm pretty sure was a channel exclusive to Europe. Not sure how many of my American viewers will know about that one. Either way, Playhouse Disney in particular holds a special place in my inner child's heart. I can't look at this logo without getting that warm and fuzzy feeling that you only get when you remember something that had a massive impact on your childhood, which this channel did for me. Some of my favourite series that aired on the channel when I was a little kid were Belle in the Big Blue House, Rolie, Polie, Olie, and the various Winnie the Pooh shows that aired across the channel's time on the air. They gave me some really good times when I was a little kid. The Playhouse Disney branding managed to last for a good while, as it spent over a decade on the air. However, in 2011, Disney made the decision to rebrand Playhouse Disney into Disney Junior, with the final version of Playhouse Disney to end its time on the air being the block that aired on the Russian version of the Disney Channel. In the past on this channel, we've taken a look at some of the lost media from one of Disney's blocks that was aimed at slightly older kids with Jetix, as well as some unofficial and darker stuff related to Disney. So I thought it would be fun to dial it back a bit and go even further into the recesses of my childhood to see what has gone missing over the years from the House of Mouse's content aimed at younger audiences. There is quite a bit that hasn't been archived or preserved related to shows I and many others enjoyed growing up, so let's not waste any time and jump straight in. Here's a look at the lost and cancelled media of Playhouse Disney. The Lost Rolie Polie Olie pilot. One of the shows I remember the most from Playhouse Disney was the incredibly strange looking but ultimately pretty entertaining 3D animated series Rolie Polie Olie. Premiering in 1998 and running for 6 years, Rolie Polie Olie focuses on the everyday lives of a small robot boy named Olie and his family. The show was actually a pretty big deal, as it was the first show made for preschoolers that used 3D animation, as well as one of the first animated shows of any kind to be fully animated in CGI. Naturally, such a leap forward in technology would require some planning, and part of this planning was the creation of a short pilot in 1997. The pilot was created by a company called Windlight Studios and came about after a meeting between the series' creator, William Joyce, and an employee of Windlight Studios who had become interested in turning some of Joyce's art of robot families into a cartoon. Funnily enough, Joyce was also interested in making a show based on these sketches, despite initially having no plans for these characters to go anywhere outside of the drawings. Albeit being reluctant initially, Windlight gave Joyce complete creative liberty to do whatever he wanted with the animation, and they all got to work on creating a test animation for a series featuring this robot family, which would eventually go on to become Rolie Polie Olie as we know it today. The plot of the animation test revolved around Olie and his dog, Spot, delivering newspapers to his neighbours. This is until Spot thinks that Olie is playing fetch with him and ends up accidentally jumping into a baby's bassinet, which annoys the baby's mother. It's also said that this animation test used music from the 1994 comedy film The Little Rascals. To this day, no footage from this test pilot has ever surfaced, and the only information we have about its creation comes from a Kids Screen article that has a brief section discussing the pilot's development, and from Joyce himself, who posted the original artwork that inspired the pitch pilot on his Instagram account. We also have 2 screenshots from the pilot, which are the only images we have that give us some idea of what the pilot looked like. As you can see from these 2 images, the animation style looks pretty different to the final series, which makes sense since the pilot was likely developed on a smaller budget than the final show. After the pilot's creation, Windlight was bought out by Canadian animation studio Nelvana, and they went on to create 4 seasons of the show, which thankfully are all archived and available to this day, but we have yet to see more from this test animation. It is currently unknown who would have the original masters of the pilot stored in their archives, as it could be Disney, Nelvana, or both, and it is possible that William Joyce himself could be in possession of a copy that he has just yet to upload online. If I'm being honest, I found it really hard to find any information on this pilot, as the only remnants we have of it are from the Kid Screen article and the screenshots we have from William Joyce and various other sources. It's a shame too, as like I said earlier, this show was pretty influential in getting studios to start using CGI for shows aimed at a younger demographic, so it's sad that what is essentially the series in its earliest form remains lost to this day. Out of the Box. Out of the Box was a show that aired from 1998 to 2004 that took place in a playhouse made out of cardboard boxes, where the two hosts, Tony and Vivian, would take care of the neighbourhood children, making arts and crafts with them, as well as singing songs and acting out plays. This show is actually what gave me the idea to make this video, as my brother grew up with it and was trying to find episodes to watch online to no avail for quite some time, as most of the episodes of this series were considered to be lost media for a good while, as only 2 out of the show's 79 episodes were released on home media. Thankfully though, all of the episodes that aired on TV were made available on Disney Plus when it launched in the US in November of 2019, which helped with preserving the series. Side note, but we still don't have this show available on Disney Plus here in the UK, so come on Disney, do us British viewers a favour and put this show on Disney Plus. My brother has been wanting to relive this part of his childhood for quite some time now. Anyways, note that I said the episodes that aired on TV were made available on Disney Plus. This is because there are actually some potentially lost episodes of this show that were produced but never aired. We're aware of this thanks to some episode titles that appeared on listings for the show on the website newspapers.com in 1999 when the second season was airing. These 3 episodes were titled Let's Eat Out, The Gift, and Treasures. None of these titles were used for any of the episodes that are available on Disney Plus, and it is strange that they appeared in listings for the show despite seemingly not being a part of the series' official run on television. It has been speculated that these episodes were early versions of Season 2's episodes based on their titles, however this is yet to be confirmed by anyone who worked on the series. The US copyright database claims that there were gaps in the production order of the first season of the show where these episodes could have fit in, and there is footage used in the opening of the first 2 seasons that doesn't appear in any of the show's episodes, leading some fans to the conclusion that this footage could be from these mysterious lost episodes. While this may be compelling evidence to lead some to believe that these episodes exist in some form, there is also evidence to suggest the contrary, as there is conflicting information about whether or not these episodes aired on TV at all, with various sources on newspaper.com claiming that The Gift and Treasures aired on October 6th and October 10th, 1999, as opposed to the episodes Unicornucopia and Total Consequences, which were the episodes that aired on these dates according to Disney Plus and the US copyright database. Additionally, the gaps in the show's production schedule were during the production of the first season, which kind of contradicts the listings as these episodes appeared on listings for the second season and not the first. However, it is possible that these episodes were made during the production of the first season, but were just bumped to the second season for one reason or another. With the conflicting reports about the show's airing schedule, as well as the various pieces of evidence to suggest that these episodes may or may not exist, it is purely speculation at this point as to whether or not they do. The show in general seems to be very obscure, with not a lot of solid information being available to us about its production or when each episode was aired, so I'll open the floor up to you guys. Do you guys think these episodes exist, or do you have any recollection of them airing? Me personally, I think there is certainly a possibility that these episodes were filmed but never aired, or were maybe even left incomplete if they really were early versions of some of Season 2's episodes. I would be very interested to see if they were uncovered one day in some shape or form. However, until they are, they will likely remain a mystery as a piece of media that's existence is currently unconfirmed. The Lost Handy Manny pilot. Running for a total of 3 seasons and 113 episodes, Handy Manny was an animated series that was aired between 2006 and 2011 on Playhouse Disney, and even went on to continue airing new episodes for another 2 years when the block was changed to Disney Junior. The show follows a handyman named Manny who helps the residents of Sheetrock Hills with their problems with the help of his toolbox full of talking tools. Now, when it comes to my builder-centric kid shows, I was always partial to Bob the Builder when I was a little kid, but I did end up watching a lot of this show as I had younger cousins who were super into it and would watch it 24/7 when I was at their house. As with almost every television series in existence, Handy Manny had a pilot episode that was created sometime between 2004 and 2005. Unlike the final series, which was made by Buena Vista and Canadian animation studio Nelvana, this 11-minute pilot was animated by an animation studio known as DKP Entertainment, who are famous for their VeggieTales animations and who are now known as Jamfield Entertainment, going on to work on various animated shows such as The Loud House for Nickelodeon. Alongside being animated by a different studio, the pilot was also different in style, favouring a traditional 3D animated style as opposed to the cel-shaded style used in the final series. There is very little known about this pilot, and the only footage we have comes from a couple of very short clips that are featured in a DKP Entertainment demo reel, with one clip showing earlier designs for the tools and another showing the character of Mr. Lopart falling behind a fence. We do also have an image of an earlier version of Manny's character model from a 2005 issue of TV Guide, although I'm unsure whether or not this design for Manny is the same as the one used in the pilot, but as you can see, it looks a lot different than the character model used in the final series. We do have some small plot details about this pilot that come to us from one of the series co-creators, Marilyn Sadler, who confirmed that in the pilot, Manny worked outside his house instead of from his workshop, and instead of being the clumsy owner of the candy store next to his workshop, Mr. Lopart was Manny's clumsy next door neighbour. We also know that this pilot was directed by CG artist Kyron Kelly thanks to a resume posted online. I have seen conflicting information on the cast of the pilot, as the wiki page for the show lists a completely different cast to the one listed on IMDb. The Handy Manny wiki states that Fred Stoller, the voice of Rusty in the final series, confirmed that voice actor Carlos Alasquari, apologies if I've completely butchered that name, who voiced Philippe in the final series, played Manny in the pilot, alongside Kurtwood Smith voicing Turner in the pilot. However, IMDb lists Manny's voice actor from the final series, Wilmer Valderrama, as the actor who voices him in the pilot, so I'm unsure which of these has the more accurate or correct information, if either of them are correct at all. Outside of this, there is no other information available about this pilot online. I have seen some mentions on the internet that it was aired at the MIPCOM exhibition, but there is no evidence to actually prove that this is true. This pilot is one of those pieces of lost media that is pretty mysterious, with only a small amount of footage and information accounting for its existence, and until more information does come to light about it, it will likely remain this way for some time. Sing Me a Story with Belle. Sing Me a Story with Belle was a live-action series based on the 1991 Disney classic Beauty and the Beast that features Belle, played in live-action by actress Lindsay McLeod, working in her own bookstore in France and greeting children in, telling them a story. The format of the show was similar to that of Shining Time Station in that the show used live-action segments to teach kids life lessons and morals, with the stories that Belle narrated being various classic Disney cartoons featuring characters such as Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh. This series was actually made in response to the EI, or Educational and Informational, requirement that was enacted by the FCC in 1997 that required all commercial TV stations to broadcast at least 3 hours of core educational programming per week. This is why the footage of the classic Disney cartoons was used for Belle's stories, as it allowed Disney to present higher quality animation that would normally be possible in educational content that would meet the FCC standards for the EI requirement. While this series technically premiered on the Disney Channel in 1995, Sing Me a Story with Belle eventually moved to the Playhouse Disney block in America in the year 2000 and was aired on the Playhouse Disney Channel here in the UK, so in my eyes it qualifies to be on this list. Plus, it's a pretty interesting entry based on one of Disney's most beloved and classic animated films, so I couldn't leave it off the list. According to the Lost Media Wiki, as well as the Disney Wiki, there are 65 episodes of this show that are known to exist, but we currently only have titles of 26 episodes, which we know courtesy of the show's page on Disney's website, which is currently accessible through the Wayback Machine. As for actual episodes of the show, there are currently 19 episodes out of the first 26 that have been archived online by various users over the years. There were also 2 VHSs that were released that each have 2 episodes of the show on them and have both been archived online. The episodes of the show that currently remain lost are titled Everybody Needs a Friend, Everyone's Special, Best Friends, Sibling Rivalry, Creativity and Inspiration, and Be Yourself. As for the other 39 episodes that remain nameless, I'm a little unsure as to where the information of there being 65 episodes originated from to begin with, as there seems to be conflicting information online on the show's episode count. Both IMDb and Wikipedia show that the series only features 26 episodes, which conflicts with what the Lost Media Wiki and Disney Wiki say, but these aren't particularly reliable sources as they can be edited fairly easily by anyone and have given us incorrect information before when it comes to Lost Media searches. They both might just be stating the known episodes and not the total number of episodes. While this could be the case, I also wasn't able to find any concrete evidence to prove that there were 65 episodes made, so if anyone out there knows where the information of there being 65 episodes originates from, feel free to drop it down in the comments below. Outside of the episodes and titles we have, there is very little from the show that has surfaced online, and it seems to have fallen into obscurity. Having watched a few episodes of this show, and having vague recollections of watching it when I was a kid, it looks like a lot of time and effort was put into the production of the series. I mean, it looks a hell of a lot better than the live action crap Disney's tried to peddle to us fans today. It featured original songs and pretty extensive changes to the cartoons used, so it is strange to me that Disney has never made this series more widely available on home media or on Disney+, as it's likely that they still have it stored away somewhere in their archives. While we wait for them to hurry up and release the series officially in some way, if they ever do, it will be up to fans to scour through their home recordings to see if they can find the remaining lost episodes of this series based on one of Disney's finest animated works. Playhouse Disney UK's interstitial content. So this entry is unique on this list, as it isn't a specific show from Playhouse Disney, but a bunch of the supplemental material from the UK version of the channel that was much different in format compared to its US counterpart. Presented by presenters Big Dave and Little Alex, as well as a puppet named Monty Mole on occasion, Playhouse Disney UK utilised a live-action playhouse for segments that aired in between the shows and movies that were shown on the channel, where the presenters would dance, sing, and do various other activities related to a particular quote-unquote day. These days would focus on a particular theme or topic that would link the interstitials that aired throughout the day together. Examples of this are Boat Day, Hair Day, and Winnie the Pooh Day, amongst various others. The Playhouse set was divided up into several rooms, with there being a main room, a bedroom, an attic, a bathroom, and a garden from which these segments were conducted. There were also mini-segments outside of the days, which included a birthday segment featuring Dave and Alex interacting and dancing with a talking and singing birthday cake named Victoria Sponge, and interacting with Mickey the Mouse, a real-life mouse who lived in a smaller replica of the Playhouse. Another part of the channel was a segment where pictures were sent in by viewers, with Dave or Alex retrieving them from the Playhouse postman, played by children's presenter Phil Gallagher, who many fellow Brits will know as the man behind the beloved Mr. Maker. There were also various live shows, musical segments, cooking segments, and a load of other content that was aired on the channel. There's honestly way too much of this content that is lost to time for me to be able to list here, without making this entry an entire video on its own, and the Lost Media Wiki has a great write-up on more details of what was contained within these segments, which I will link in the description, as it is an interesting read for those of you who want to learn more about these segments. As for the stuff we do have from Playhouse Disney UK's interstitial content, we have a list of the days that aired on TV in 2002 that comes from a fan site for Alex Lovell, the actress who played Little Alex, as well as the names of various other days and smaller segments that aired on the channel. From what I can tell, there isn't any sort of comprehensive or complete list of what exactly is lost and found from the content from this channel. Most of what we do know comes from recordings that have been posted in various places all over the internet, recollections from various fans online, and from some of the promotional VHS tapes and CDs that were given out through various different means, such as parenting magazines. Most of these tapes and CDs were uploaded to the Internet Archive and to YouTube by a user named LTP Harry, also known as IME Entertainment on YouTube, so shout out to him for being a big proponent of archiving and preserving these lost Playhouse Disney UK pieces of media. While it is great to have the interstitial content from the promotional DVDs archived, they only contain a handful of the lost content from Playhouse Disney UK, with the rest being buried by the sands of time outside of the various recordings of Playhouse Disney UK that are available on the web. We know that Alex Lovell does not hold any master tapes of the lost content, as she confirmed this on Twitter in July of 2024, and the Lost Media Wiki states that Dave has also said the same thing in regards to any lost content. However, I wasn't able to find a source for where he said this in my research. Overall, it appears there is a whole wealth of content from Playhouse Disney UK's time on the air that is lost to this day, a lot of which we may not even know exists, as it appears more and more content is being uncovered as the years go by from VHS recordings of the channel's time on the air. Until more people search through their home recordings of Playhouse Disney UK, this is going to be a part of many English fans' childhood that will be hard to experience again, as Disney most definitely won't ever release this content officially due to the nature of it being made for live TV, likely made to only be aired once and never again. Given the sheer amount of content that aired between shows on the channel, I feel like it is almost impossible to archive it all, but stranger things have occurred in the lost media community, and I'm hopeful that with the dedication of fans, we can archive this content that likely holds a special place in the hearts of fans that grew up on the UK rendition of Playhouse Disney. The Lost Little Einsteins pilots. Being one of the shows most synonymous with the Playhouse Disney brand, Little Einsteins is an animated series created by the Baby Einstein Company based on their Baby Einstein videos. The show focuses on a group of 4 children, Leo, June, Quincy and Annie, who fly around the world in their rocket ship while helping kids learn about art and music through showing them classic pieces of both art forms. While it was released in 2005, the show was in development as early as 2001, as Disney announced the show when they brought the Baby Einstein Company in November of that year. 2 pilots were produced for the series before its release in 2005, with one being made in 2003 and another being made in 2004, with each pilot exhibiting some noticeable differences between each other and the actual series. The first pilot, made in 2003, was actually titled Little Einstein instead of Little Einsteins, and was made as a pitch pilot to try and pitch the series to Disney, who loved the pilot and decided to schedule the premiere of the series for 2005 on Playhouse Disney. This pilot had a multitude of design differences from the actual series, with each of the characters looking a lot different to their final designs, as well as the kids' rocket ship, originally called Cosmobile, being a crudely rendered 3D model, with some additional features that aren't featured in the final series, such as an actual voice instead of the xylophone sounds he used to communicate in the final series. A year after this pilot was made, the entire series was overhauled, with a bunch of changes being made to the show that more closely resembled the final version. These included updating the logo to match the one used in the final series, as well as updating the designs of the characters so that they were practically identical to the final product. After these changes were made, a second and final pitch pilot was produced in 2004 and was once again shown to Disney, who approved of the changes that had been made since the first pilot and sent the series into production. While we have this information about them, both of these pilots are currently lost. However, we do have footage of both of them, as they were both made into 2 separate trailers that appeared on various home media to do with the series. The footage from the 2003 pilot was used in a trailer for the show that was released on a variety of Baby Einstein VHS and DVD releases in 2004. The trailer gives us a look at the earliest incarnation of the show, with different character designs, a different theme song, and lower quality animation than that of the final series. As for the second pilot, footage of it was used in a trailer that was included with various Disney VHS and DVD releases in early 2005. This trailer shows a version of the show with animation and designs that are closer in quality and look to the final series, as this was of course made much later in development. Outside of these trailers, there is not much more information about the 2004 pilot. We have some flash models from the pilot that were provided by Mike Luzzi, who worked on the second pilot, and a few pieces of concept art that show us some more of the designs that are shown in the trailer, but there is no plot information or other production details to be found anywhere on the web about this pilot. While that may be the case for the 2004 pilot, we do have some more information from the 2003 pilot, as bits and pieces of it have surfaced over the years since its production. In 2021, crew members related to the pilot's production were contacted and were able to share screenshots they had of the pilot that gave us some more insight into its contents, with a short demo reel showcasing new footage surfacing a year later in 2022. A year after this, in 2023, a script for the pilot dated as June 11, 2003, surfaced online alongside a model sheet and a show bible that showcased the final versions for all the characters and gave us a better idea of what this version of the show would have been like. This script and show bible are both archived on the Internet Archive, with the screenshots, model sheet, and various other images we have from this pilot being available on the Lost Media Wiki and the Little Einsteins Wiki. As some of the crew members of the show had various pieces of content from both of these pilots, there is always the possibility that they may have copies of the pilot in their portfolio, but can't release them due to potential legal concerns with Disney, who have yet to release either of these pilots officially. Given that they were just used for pitching purposes and feature designs and elements that weren't consistent with the final series, it's likely that Disney doesn't have much interest in releasing either of these pilots through any official means, so it will be down to those associated with its production to provide us what they can as the search continues for this early version of Little Einsteins. JoJo's Circus. Produced by Canadian animation studio Cup of Coffee Studios, alongside American-based studio Cartoon Pizza, JoJo's Circus was a stop-motion animated series that ran on Playhouse Disney from 2003 to 2007, amassing a total of 59 episodes across 3 seasons. The show follows a 6-year-old clown girl named JoJo who lives in a town called Circus Town with her pet lion called Goliath. Alongside Goliath and her other friends, JoJo learns lessons and deals with challenges while inviting the viewer to jump, dance, and wiggle. Weirdly enough, I don't ever actually remember watching this show, but I do have a lot of nostalgia for the characters and their designs, as I remember seeing them around when I was a kid. Am I the only one who has that with shows I didn't watch but remember existing? The series was successful at the time of its release, and it even went on to get a spin-off called Feeling Good with JoJo. But despite its success, the show in its entirety was never released on DVD, and some of the episodes have gone missing and have yet to resurface online. Most of the show is readily available online, however we are currently missing 3 episodes from Season 1, 11 episodes from Season 2, and 4 episodes from Season 3. For the Season 1 episodes that are currently lost, we actually do have access to them in other languages. Season 1 episodes The Clown Family Picnic and Dinky's Dance are not available anywhere in English, but the German dubs are currently preserved, and the episode Charlie the Clown Baby is only available in low quality in English, with the Polish version of the episode being the only one currently available in high quality. As for Season 2, there are 7 episodes of the show that are currently lost, with 4 episodes being partially lost or available in very low quality, and Season 3 is the same, with some of the episodes being available but in very poor quality or not in their entirety. Strangely, not only did the original series manage to end up going missing, but the spin-off series I mentioned earlier, titled Feeling Good with JoJo, also has over half of its episodes missing, with 11 out of 20 of its episodes not being available in their entirety, and with 2 being technically found, but with really bad quality. The show did see a couple of home media releases through 2 DVDs, however these DVDs barely featured any episodes, as only 12 episodes were found through DVDs, with the rest coming from home recordings or from other sources. It's very weird to me that the original show is missing, as even if people missed it during its original run and weren't able to make home recordings, unlike the spin-off series, Disney began rerunning JoJo's Circus on Disney Junior. And these reruns weren't just for a few weeks or a short period of time, they went on for quite a while, with some time in mid-2014 being the last known time that the show was aired on TV. Even though this is the case, a decent amount of the show is still inexplicably unavailable, and without much in the way of home releases as the show isn't available on any streaming services or on many DVDs, home recordings are the best hope for uncovering the missing episodes of this show. Ooh and Ah bumpers. Since we took a look at some of the interstitial content of Playhouse Disney's UK version, I thought it would be fitting to show my American viewers some love and also talk about some of the lost bumpers from their version of Playhouse Disney, since there are some that were aired but aren't archived online. From 2007 until the block's eventual demise in 2011, Playhouse Disney was hosted by a pair of monkey puppets named Ooh and Ah, who originated from a 2005 short form series called Ooh, Ah and You. The two puppets appeared in a variety of bumpers that played between the shows on the Playhouse Disney block before and after the end of a show. An example of these were segments called Monkey Mail that would show the two singing a song called the Monkey Mail Song while they checked their mailbox for a letter they received from a Playhouse Disney character to promote the show that was going to air next. Given the nature of why they were created, there are a lot of these bumpers and segments that were made to promote almost every show that aired on the channel between 2007 and 2011, and there are various lists online that compile the multitude of bumpers that may or may not have existed. There have been bumpers archived online from some of Playhouse Disney's most popular shows, including Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Handy Manny, but there are equally as many that are still lost as of the recording of this video. These supposedly include bumpers for shows such as Imagination Movers and Special Agent Oso, as well as versions of these bumpers dubbed into different languages from other regions. This makes archiving a complete set of these bumpers even more messy than it otherwise would be, as we're not only looking for bumpers that aired only a few times, but also alternate language versions of these seldom seen pieces of Playhouse Disney's history. As with most lost interstitial content, it is pretty much a guarantee that Disney will not release these officially again, as they don't serve much of a purpose outside of promoting Playhouse Disney shows and content, and since that block is no longer on the air, there isn't much reason for them to release these again. With that being said, it is likely that any of the home recordings of Playhouse Disney from 2007 to 2011 in both the US and any of the countries where these bumpers were aired may include some of the content that is currently missing. For now though, US fans will have to be content reliving their childhood through the bumpers we have archived online until more of these are uncovered by the wider public. The lost My Friends Tigger and Pooh pilots. As one of the most iconic and long-lasting characters that Disney has ever adapted, of course Winnie the Pooh was going to make an appearance somewhere on this list. While there were a few Winnie the Pooh shows that aired on Playhouse Disney, including some others that were also lost at one point, the series we're going to be taking a look at today is the CGI series called My Friends Tigger and Pooh. My Friends Tigger and Pooh ran for 3 years from 2007 to 2010 and focused on Winnie the Pooh and his usual group of friends, as well as a new main character named Darby, as they go on adventures in the 100 Acre Wood, with viewers being encouraged to engage with the characters to help solve the mystery found in each episode, similar to a series like Dora the Explorer. Early in the show's development, there were actually 2 pilot episodes that were created for the series, one in 2005 and one in 2006, both of which are lost to this day. We'll start with the 2005 pilot, as there is a little bit more known about this one, and it came out first, so we'll try to keep things in chronological order. The 2005 pilot was developed by animation studio DQ Entertainment, who would eventually go on to work on the immensely popular series Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, which, ironically enough, also aired on Playhouse Disney, and was significantly shorter than the second pilot produced in 2006. Interestingly, this pilot did not feature Darby, and instead featured Tigger and Pooh as the main characters. According to the Lost Media Wiki, this first pilot began with Tigger, sitting with Pooh by a pond, counting his stripes. Upon seeing the sleuth alarm flag, Tigger and Pooh jump into a tree, wearing their superhero costumes, and doing the super sleuth pose with the viewer. A raccoon journalist then shows up, and is eager to start an adventure with Tigger and Pooh. As Tigger and Pooh continue riding their scooter, the raccoon reporter explains to the audience how he writes stories about their adventures and occasionally joins them to help. As the raccoon reporter gets dragged along for the ride, Piglet warns them to be careful. The pilot's existence was unknown until parts of it were found in an Australian promotional DVD for Playhouse Disney. Titled Imagine and Learn, this DVD contained short clips of the pilot spliced together with footage from the actual show. The animation quality of the clips from the pilot is noticeably worse than that of the final show, most likely because it was only a test pilot, so it didn't have that big of a budget. However, it can be slightly hard to tell, as the recordings of this DVD I could find online were only recordings of a TV playing the DVD. While this isn't ideal, it's one of the few things we have to show us what this earlier version of the show that was pitched with the 2005 pilot looked like. As for the 2006 pilot, it more closely resembled the animation style and quality of the final series, and unlike the 2005 pilot, it featured Darby, who is the main character of the original show. There is less known about this pilot in general, with its plot remaining a mystery to this day, although it is speculated that the pilot's plot was used as an inspiration for a segment in the final series titled Eeyore's Trip to the Moon, as some of the footage we have for the pilot implies that. Speaking of which, we do have some small clips from this pilot, as several promos for the final series include scenes from it, with a special sneak peek commercial supposedly airing on Playhouse Disney on August 1st of 2006. Additionally, a theme song was created for one of the pilots, which was uploaded to YouTube by a user named Harry Dubs. The theme song sounds completely different to the one used in the final show, and no one seems to know where this user got it from or where it originates. We don't even know which of the two pilots this theme song originates from, making its existence and upload incredibly mysterious.
Hey Addie, where you going? Hey Pooh Bear, can we come too? Every day we're together, it's a brand new surprise when you look at the world through Pooh Bear's eyes. Hey Tigger.
Overall, these two pilots are pieces of lost media that I'd be interested in seeing uncovered, as I did watch this show a little when I was younger, and it would be interesting to see how it changed over the course of its development. Since Disney isn't the best when it comes to releasing lost pilots and shows that lost media hunters have been searching for, our best shot at finding these may be contacting the show's creators or people involved with the production, as I don't see an official release of the two pilots happening anytime soon. Breakfast with Belle. One of the most popular shows to ever air on Playhouse Disney was of course the critically acclaimed series Belle in the Big Blue House. Created by Mitchell Kriegman and produced by Jim Henson Television for Disney to air on their Playhouse Disney block, Belle in the Big Blue House followed the daily lives of the titular bear and his friends as they teach kids lessons, sing songs, and overall just have a fun time. As stated at the start of the video, this show was one of my favourites when I was a young kid, and it seems that I wasn't alone, as the show went on for 4 seasons and has won multiple Daytime Emmy Awards, as well as just being widely regarded as an all-around great show for young kids to watch and learn from. I certainly recommend it to anyone who has young kids. As I'm sure many fans of this show fondly remember, each episode would end with Belle talking to Luna the Moon about the episode's theme before singing the goodbye song to bid the audience farewell, and the show ended this way for every episode up until the end of the series' run on TV. However, during the airing of the 4th season of the show, Luna the Moon's actress Lynn Thigpen unfortunately passed away due to a cerebral hemorrhage, and 8 episodes of the series were put on hold for 3 years until 2006, putting the show on hiatus. To fill the void created by the show going on hiatus during this time, Disney Channel executive Nancy Cantor decided it would be a good idea to create a spin-off series titled Breakfast with Belle. Breakfast with Belle featured Belle travelling to kids' homes to help them with their daily morning preparations, where he would play games, sing songs, and of course help them with breakfast, as implied by the title. While the original Belle in the Big Blue House series had some lost episodes at one point in time, including a lost pilot, all of these have since been found and archived online for all of us to enjoy. However, as of right now, the same can't be said for the spin-off series Breakfast with Belle. What we do know is that 20 episodes were made in total, with half of the episodes being made in New York and the other half being made in California. We currently have access to 6 complete episodes of the series on the Internet Archive, these being episodes 6, 12, 15, 16, 17, and 18, as well as a clip from the first episode that comes from a Playhouse Disney summertime promo that was aired in 2005. In March of 2023, Lost Media Wiki user YoshiKiller2S found out that at some point in the mid-2000s, every episode of the show was encoded and was shared around file-sharing platforms. However, none of the episodes have surfaced from these supposed uploads as of January 2025. We do have summaries for some of the lost episodes that have been collated on the Lost Media Wiki from various sources, along with some songs, screenshots, and commercials that give us a look at other parts of the series. The show has no home media release of any kind, but it is possible that Disney has Breakfast with Bear somewhere in their archives, and it could be found if they were to upload the show to Disney+, much like they did with the original series, as some episodes of that show were found when it was made available via the streaming service. There is actually an option on the Disney Plus website that allows you to put a request in for new content. I've got no clue how seriously Disney takes these requests, but who knows, maybe if enough of us request from them to add the series to Disney Plus, it might just get added. Alternatively, if anyone watching this has VHS recordings of Playhouse Disney from June of 2005 to September of 2006, we may be able to find the episodes this way, as they were aired during this time period. I would love for this series to be found, as, much like the original series, it seems like a nice wholesome show that teaches young viewers valuable lessons, but for now, the hunt for even more content from Breakfast with Bear is still on, as there are multiple episodes out there waiting for all of us fans new and old to come and play.